As I mentioned, some good news today. Even in the midst of a Biden administration, there's actually good news. We've got the court decisions, the pending court decision, the one that came out yesterday, and now the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, a sub-agency of the Department of Health and Human Services, and we live up here in an alphabet soup. We got all these different acronyms. Well, they've abandoned their plan to force millions of taxpayers to pay for other people's gender transition procedures. Now, in the final rule that was released last Thursday, CMS dropped the proposals, which we here at the Family Research Council have been actively pushing against. Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Jennifer Bauwens. She is the director of the Center for Family Studies here at the Family Research Council, who authored the comment that FRC submitted to HHS back in January in opposition to the proposals. Jennifer, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
So explain what they were trying to do, and then we can talk about the significance of this retreat.
Yeah, in short, basically they wanted us to pay for gender transition surgeries, procedures, hormones. They wanted us to basically back this ideology. And I can't tell you what a relief it is to realize that my tax dollars are not going to these kinds of procedures.
Now, this is something that has permeated the Biden administration. Everywhere we turn, they're pushing this whole transgender agenda. So backing off from this rulemaking process, which this was a part of, if I'm not mistaken, part of Obamacare, right?
Correct.
So they're backing away from this. Why did they back away since they're so committed to this?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's kind of interesting just in the whole process of submitting this comment is that normally you have about 60 days. Well, this administration basically gave us a third of that time, and then they lumped it in the midst of a holiday. So as my friends across the pond would say, that's a little cheeky, to say the very least. So one of the things that, to their benefit, is that by doing what they just did, by backing off this rule, they don't have to respond to our comments. Because one thing that happens with the federal government is that when you propose a rule, you have to, by law, make substantive comments to the comments that were submitted to you on this rule. So they don't have to respond to our questions about the faulty science. They don't have to remark in a substantive way.
So let's kind of game that out, why they might wanted to have avoided responding, because then you get into not really a political debate, but it has to be a scientific debate. And we expose what's behind the curtain.
That's right. I mean, they're gonna try again. I mean, this isn't over by any stretch, but
they never go away.
Yeah, and this is their number one agenda, or at least it sure seems like it. And the science behind this ideology is really flimsy, and so to respond in any substantive way would require more effort than just a few talking points and a few flashing of a study here and there to say that the debate is over. It's far from over.
Now, Dr. Bauwens, you wrote the response for FRC, but also we encouraged others to respond across the country. What type of response did they get to this proposed rule change?
Yeah, actually, Roger Severino did a great job of just leading the charge on this, and groups like Family Policy Alliance, Christian Medical and Dental Association, and Heritage, other groups, whatever their piece of the puzzle was, they submitted basically a similar response that we all were questioning the science. We're all questioning how can we allow such radical procedures to children's bodies with such little evidence. This kind of procedure should necessitate the most rigorous type of scientific backing.
So, Jennifer, how do you think they might come back and try this again?
Well, I think that there are a number of I'm thinking of a number of policies that they have down the pike, but I think they're going to try it in every department, every which way they can make a rule. It might be more in Pride Month that they're going to try to gain political support and political arm, but they're not going to stop.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, this is one of their top I mean, almost when you look at how President Biden himself, not his administration, himself addresses this issue repeatedly, that this is, I would almost say, an obsession with them.
It is an obsession, and you have to wonder what's behind that. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about this, but there's definitely a theoretical, spiritual underpinnings to this whole ideology that has to do with truth, that have to do with separating children from who they are, their identity. And so I think this is a really important place for the church to step in and really be that affirming. It's a great word, right? Affirmation is actually the right word. These children need affirmation of
As
their
God
identity.
created them and desires for them to be. I mean, I think you're right. I think we are, as a society, you know, we're hanging by a string over a raging fire, and it's that one strand of truth. It breaks, and I think we lose the culture. And that's what this is all about. It's really about truth. It's about the height of rebellion against God. You didn't make me a man. You didn't make me a woman. I will declare who I am myself. Well, we're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. As you said, they never go away, and so this issue is going to be coming back, folks. And I know many parents, I've heard from many, many parents who are dealing with this as their children have been inundated with this. How should we respond? How should parents respond? How should we as Christians respond? Well, Dr. Owen Strachan joins us next here as we discuss that in this next segment of Washington Watch. Don't go away. In fact, call your friends to tune in.